Hi there and welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Helen.
And I am Joseph.
And we are the Joe-Attahs. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking our videos in the past. And if you're new here, want to say welcome. I think that you should stick around because there's a whole lot. You might want to go through our previous videos as well because there's a whole lot to learn. All right, so today we're talking about something that people are not really paying attention to, and you know the Bible says that it's little foxes that spoil the vine. So a lot of times it's those little things that we do not pay attention to that become the big things that destroy our relationships. So today we want to talk about toxic behaviors.
And we care about you so much, so we want you to pay attention to these little things so that they will not spoil your relationship. We want you to enjoy your marriage the best way possible.
So this video is both for those who are married and those who are in a relationship. If you're married already, you might want to begin to identify those things. As we talk about them, you might just pick out some things that you're seeing in your marriage. You could be the one that is guilty, or it could be your partner, right? And then if you are yet to be married, then I mean it's a good time. It's actually the best time to begin to pick out these things and then see how you can push for change to happen. And if change is not happening, then you might want to end that relationship, because a broken relationship is better than a broken marriage. All right, so and another emphasis that I want to make is that calling it toxic behaviors was intentional, because a lot of times when we talk about toxicity, we tend to now view whoever is manifesting that behavior in a negative light. Sometimes people are putting up toxic behaviors, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they are toxic people. It's just that sometimes they don't even know that behavior they are putting is toxic. And when you think of the word toxic, you're thinking of something that is can spoil something. So it's not necessarily that the person putting up the behavior is bad or is a toxic person, because there are toxic people, right? And then there are toxic behaviors. So a good person can also have certain toxic traits that they need to work on in order to make the relationship better. Very true.
So to get it rolling, the first thing we'll like to identify is silent treatment. I actually, why I'm smiling?
Please tell them why you're smiling.
I'm smiling the moment I mentioned silent treatment. I just smile because I used to be. Is it used to be? Okay. Yes, I used to be a victim. Yes, I say I used to be a victim because I have improved.
No, don't say you used to be a victim. You used to be guilty, so it's be better understood. Like you used to be the one dishing out the silent treatment.
Of course, and this is not peculiar to me. I believe that this is peculiar to men.
A lot of men. Stomach diversion.
Because men, they just feel like, okay, you don't want problems, you don't want arguments, you don't want to talk, to overstress an issue. You don't want to just overburden an issue so that it will not escalate. So you feel like the right thing to do is just keep quiet while she's talking. Okay, it's okay to keep quiet, but after the conversation, if that keeping quiet persists, it's no longer keeping quiet. It becomes silent treatment, because now you are hurt. Or you don't feel good about maybe a reaction or a response of your partner. And now you feel like the best way to pay her back, let me give her a little piece of my flesh.
So silent treatment is like punishment.
It's punishment.
The other person for a wrongdoing. Of communication.
For a wrongdoing, and of course, if you have watched our previous videos, we did communicate expressly that communication is the live wire of every relationship. And if you want a relationship to die, just have it on communication. So by the time you intentionally want to, avoid talking to your partner as a way of punishing them, that is silent treatment. It's a toxic behavior. It looks like, I'm not beating her, I'm not hitting her, I don't hit my wife. But as simple as it seems, it can affect, your relationship in ways beyond your imagination.
Yeah. So as the victim, as someone who used to be the victim, and I'm saying used to be because, like you said, Omo, you have tried. I'm going to give you your flowers because you have tried. I mean, like he said, he used to want to be very non-confrontational. So whenever an issue comes up, he just, let's not quarrel. So we just go silent, and that silence will continue even after that, that episode. And I will now be like, what's happening? The atmosphere will become so tense because I'm like, what's going through his mind? Which kind of wahala is this? Sometimes, and again, silent treatment is not malice. So you can actually be talking to the person, but you're giving the person, that cold shoulder, just not saying, when they ask a question, you just say yes.
Yes, the response
or you say no. So you're giving one word, one syllable kind of responses, and you're not really engaging. You completely avoid engaging, in deep conversations with the person, and you're doing it intentionally. You're like, since you did this,
yes,
I'm going to lock up.
I'm not going to beat you, but you go shuffle.
I'm going to lock up. I will lock up for you. That kind of thing. So it's really hurtful, and it's very hurtful, especially to women. I think that women also give silent treatment a lot, but men don't feel it because they already don't want to talk.
Yeah, exactly. so women have known that approach does not work.
Sometimes it doesn't really work. So most times I have noticed that most women would rather not, right? But even if you decide to, you just mostly waste your time because, I mean, for a good majority of men already don't want to talk. Yes. So giving them silent treatment, I mean, it's fine. You don't want to talk, it's fine. So most times they don't even see that there's an issue, right? It might occur to them that she's unusually quiet, but I mean, let's not, So they don't think that there is an issue. But for a woman, when you give a woman silent treatment, number one, women are, if you watch our communication video where we talked about communication, we emphasize that women thrive
when they communicate
on communication. They thrive on communication. So when you starve a woman of communication, it affects her very deeply. It affects her emotionally, and so when you know that thing is affecting her emotionally and you keep doing it, I think that it's very hurtful. It's also a form of emotional abuse because you're trying to inflict pain on her emotion intentionally because it's a major need. Yes, because you know that she wants to talk. You decide to lock up so that she doesn't talk to you, and you too not talk to her. So it's something that really hurts, and it's something because when that is happening, a lot of things are going through her mind, and sometimes it takes a lot of, should I say, courage on the part of the woman to say, okay, you know what, things are not right. Let me pull this man, even though I know he doesn't want to talk. Let me get the words out of him so that we can repair what was broken and reconnect. So where there is no repair, there's no reconnection. You just, the bad emotions, the bad feelings are there. They're a deposit, right? And then when you're now ready to talk to her, you now start talking to her back again. That deposit has already been made. So somehow you might start talking to her, but
it will count against you in time to come.
Definitely.
And you don't want to make that kind of, it's a bad investment. It's a bad investment. So the counsel here is that the best thing to do is talk about issues, talk about everything. When you're upset, when you're happy, when you have mixed feeling, when you don't understand, the best way to really unravel every mystery is to talk about it. However little, however inconsequential, however irrelevant it looks, just talk about it. What you don't understand, by the time you communicate, you understand better. Even though it doesn't make sense to you, just listen, talk about it. By the time it's talked about, you will really understand the reason behind the action. All right, so let's look at.
So the second toxic behavior that I think that I see in marriages a lot is stonewalling. So
stonewalling.
So just like the name implies, is just blocking your partner
access
off. Sometimes you can generally be stonewalling, right? And sometimes you can be stonewalling on an issue. So stonewalling is just refusing to give them access. So you don't want to talk about a certain issue, or you just generally don't want to talk about how you feel, don't want to talk about your thoughts, you just don't want them to have access to you as a person. Now we're not talking of your physical space, right? We're talking of having access to you as a person, so your thoughts.
So you put security code on yourself.
So your thoughts, yes, your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, your everything, right? You generally don't want them to have access to you. And I feel like sometimes this happens. It's slightly different from silent treatment, but it's similar, because most times people who stonewall also give the silent treatment. So a lot of times you see that the person is just generally unavailable. So they are there, but
they're physically, but
they are unavailable. You want to talk to them, you don't know how to talk to them, because the disposition they give you makes it hard to even bring up conversations. And sometimes when you try to bring up conversations, it might, they react to it as though it's a confrontation, and they get very defensive. So then someone who stonewalls don't want to let their guards down. So
they have their reasons.
They're just putting up a barrier.
And most times, these things have to do with upbringing and background. In African society, for instance, there are certain communities where the man is trained to be the man.
In
fact, the man is trained to be the man. So
be the man.
Yes, even when he's married, in his mind, he's thinking there are certain things that he won't want to engage with his wife. It looks like, let me not give her too much allowance, so that she will not look down on me. So intentionally, they just create a personality that does not exist, just to keep her keep her a distance, keep a distance, so let her not get here, so that she will not, I don't know.
So I think that the better, or should I say, the more the deeper explanation behind that is that people, Africans especially, train their boys, or not to be vulnerable. So you hear, don't cry, you are a man, or
take heart,
be a man. Boys don't do this, boys don't do that. So boys grow up with the idea that they cannot be vulnerable. So they cannot show that they made a mistake. They cannot show that they are hurt or they're in pain. They cannot show that they are feeling disappointed or discouraged. So you just generally have to man up.
Be perfect. You got it under control.
Yes, you have to always have it under control. So that is a flawed thinking, because it tends to now affect these men. So when they now grow and actually become men, in order to hide all of those, keep hiding all of those negative things, they tend to stonewall.
And the disadvantages are quite enormous. Because one of the most important, if you really understand what marriage is about, you understand, like we said in one of our previous videos too, that the marriage institution is not one of those necessary activity that as a male or female you must get involved in. This is an intentionally designed and orchestrated institution that God, in his wisdom, infinite wisdom, put in place, and it's like a representation of his relationship with the church, the body of Christ. So, and communication, intimacy, fellowship is one of the major requirements of God, of his church. So, and that is supposed to be replicated in the marriage institution. So just imagine you come into a marriage, the only one person that you should be able to let the guard loose let the guard down with is your wife, your partner. This person sees everything about you. Practically what you hide in public, the person sees. The things that nobody else will know, the person is aware. The secret scars in your body, this person knows them. So what is difficult, so this training, sometimes that's what we said from the beginning, that the unfortunate thing is that most people are not even aware. They are not even aware. So all their lives they've been like this. So now it's difficult to want to change. So trying to even make them to change, it looks like you're trying to make them to look too simple, or to look too ordinary. But it is okay to be vulnerable around your partner.
Yeah.
And that is why you need to know who you're getting married to. So why are you not afraid of letting the person into you? Let them know you, because that is the only way they can help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, your wife is your help. That is what the Bible says. Your number one helper.
So I think that most men see that as not they see that help not as a total help. They see it as because yes, I've been trained because of it goes back to the upbringing now.
Yes.
As you were brought up in your home, certain rules were for the girls, and certain rules were for the boys. So the boys they go to school, they come back home, maybe things like wash the car, things like those
maybe more
the lawn, and those things are for guys. But you see everything domestic, from cleaning the house to doing the dishes to taking care of children and all of that, those are restricted to
for girls.
Yeah, for girls. So you'd see that most men carry that flawed thinking into marriage, because they feel like, okay, my wife is coming to help me do those things that my mother
was doing
and my sisters were doing. That is the help, and she's also supposed to help me take care of.
And your wife is not your mother. Your wife is not your sister. She is your wife
and your partner.
And that is what it means. So you need to understand what it means for somebody to be your wife. Your wife is your partner, and scripturally she has become you. She has become one with you. So you are inseparable. You are the same being. What affects you affects you. That is under normal circumstances. Whatever affects her should of necessity affect you. And whatever affects you should affect her. That is the connection, both spiritually, emotionally, and physically. If this is in place, then if you stonewall, you will just see that even you will feel left out. Because there's a lot there. Sometimes when I go out, I'm in a hurry to come back home. I don't talk so much, but I just feel comfortable being around my wife. You understand? I just feel comfortable being. There's no other company that I want to be in apart from more than that of my wife. So necessity can keep you in some places.
Can you say that again?
Yes, there is no other better company I would want to be in more than my wife.
Say it again.
So my wife is my best friend, and I always enjoy her company more than any other company. Of course, like I said, as a matter of necessity, there are places that you may necessarily need to be at certain point. But while I'm there, I'm looking forward to coming back to my best friend, my buddy. All right, so that is stonewalling. It's eating deep into certain marriages. So please pay attention to it, and if it's something you need to work on, and I bet you will have a more pleasant relationship. All right, so the next thing to look at is gaslighting. I have to emphasize on the syllables so that you will understand. I know most people are conversant or familiar with this phrase, but not everybody. This, people, sometimes it's amazing how people are. There are some people who are perfectionists. Everything they know is perfect. Their opinion is perfect. Their view over matters is perfect. So people who see themselves like that, perfectionists, tend to look at every other person as not knowing nothing. So their opinion is irrelevant. So when you talk, they will even make you look like you're insane or something is actually wrong with you. Why are you sounding like that? Did you even say you go to school? So they may not say it, but their attitude will just communicate it. So that is like trying to box people under your superior self. Everybody's opinion is boxed under your superior opinion, and it's a very terrible. And people bring this kind of behavior in marriages where they make decisions outrightly. In fact, they will even implement before they communicate. I mean, this one can even be both ways. It can be the male or the female, and it's a very terrible. It's a highly toxic behavior.
Yeah.
I know you have something much to say to that.
So I think that gaslighting plays out in marriage a lot when one of the parties is narcissist. So what narcissists try to do is that they try to make you feel bad
For
for being
Right.
the right ahead. So whatever is happening, they will try to push it back to you. Like if something happens, you are the reason why that thing happened. No matter
whatever
how,
is wrong.
yes, you're the reason why that thing happened. If there's if you had an argument, they will navigate it back to you as the reason
Because-
why. And even if a narcissist slaps you, you have to be the reason
Yes,
why,
the reason why
he slapped you
Oh,
or
shit.
they slapped you. Yeah, so they want to make you feel like you're the one something is wrong with. And now narcissists will always gaslight to make you question your own reality.
Your own sanity.
Yeah, question your own sanity or question your own reality. Like when you say something, they will say something to make you like think twice about what you just said. Like,
am I okay?
am I okay?
Yes.
You know, and all of that, just so that they will be in that space where it looks like, just like you said, they are superior.
Yes.
They are
Opinion, superior
yes,
opinion.
they are superior
Self,
to you.
yes.
So they always want you to see them as superior, as better, as above you. So they will always try to gaslight so that you will feel beneath. And so that rids you of your confidence as a person. And most times people who are constantly gaslighted on, I think end up with a very low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem.
They become
Even depression.
Yes, they become depressed because somehow you will if you're constantly gaslighted, you eventually feel like there's something wrong with you, and it messes with your mind a lot. So gaslighting is also a form of emotional abuse.
Yes, it's a major form of emotional abuse, and it's toxic. And the reason is because everybody needs validation.
Yeah.
Validation brings the best out of people.
Yeah.
Instead of gaslighting them and make them question their own reality and sanity, it's best to groom them. Bring out appreciate the good in them, and then bring out the areas where they need to improve. Because after all, we're all work in progress.
Yeah.
Everybody's learning, and we tend to learn every day. When you do that, that is when you are a partner indeed.
Yeah.
Because you are both helping to add value to your spouse, and then they become better than when you got married to them. That is what marriage should be.
Yeah.
And of course, they will thank you for it.
Yeah.
Because by the time they look at it and say, oh, this is where I was since I got married to my wife or to my husband, this is the progress that I've made.
Yeah.
The credit will always come to you.
Yeah.
I think it's better to do that than to gaslight. It's toxic and it's not good. All right.
Okay, so next thing, I think that another toxic thing to look out for is abuse of any kind. So I remember when I was still single, there was one thing I used to always say, that if I am dating someone, if I eventually get into a relationship, the day you raise your hand,
That is, it does not touch you.
no,
Even if you want to say present.
the hand doesn't have to touch me, but the day you raise your hand with the intention
Yes. To hit
me, that is the end of the relationship. Like it was a non-negotiable for me, because I used to see a lot of madness, and I still see a lot of
Yes,
madness.
they happen every day.
People, you are single, you are still dating this guy, and he will slap you,
On the road.
he will hit you, and like you are still latched onto him as though he's eternal life.
It's your life.
Is eternal life. Like, let me just hold this one and go to heaven. Let me not miss my chance to make heaven. Like, I can never understand it.
It's difficult.
I can never understand it. Am I the Queen of England? No. Am I the most beautiful girl in Nigeria or Africa or even Benue State? I do not think so. But do I love myself enough to not let anybody abuse me? Oh, you can count on that, because I mean, you have to set the pace for how other people treat you. So if you're in a relationship and you don't love yourself, you're not sure of yourself, because you have to come to that point where you are so sure about who you are and whose you are, right? So I was cautious that I'm the daughter of the king.
Most high.
So what kind of daughter of the king is somebody slapping? So for me, it was a non-negotiable. So Physical abuse is one thing, verbal abuse is another thing. I don't see how you love someone and you are constantly using negative words on them. Like, no, now. So you're calling your wife to be or your husband to be nonsense, useless, stupid,
good for nothing.
You know, those words, those negative words. I mean, if you're not married yet, please, that's your cue to remove your slippers and run with your feet touching the back of your head.
While you still can.
While you still can. Because verbal abuse will translate into physical abuse,
of course.
no doubt. So, except that person is generally loose-mouthed, then maybe it might not translate, but there's a tendency that if someone is verbally abusing you, that means that they do not value you, right? And they see you as, you know, less than who you are, or else why? Do you get? So that's not the kind of person that you want to spend your
beautiful life,
your happily ever after with, right? Because it's never going to be happily ever after. So why do you want to settle for a lifetime of abuse?
It's not worth it. But I think again, sorry for the problem again, you know, some people, the way they were raised, they tend to have very low self-esteem. Most girls, most guys don't even believe in themselves. I mean, they so hate themselves to the point that even someone that should not even deserve them, when they come into their life, they see the person as a savior. Oh, thank God. They feel so privileged. They feel, no, it's okay to sincerely appreciate people. Appreciate people who value you. You value them back. It's a normal, you know, it's ethically okay.
Yeah.
You know, but to feel like you are undeserving, to feel like you are less in value, and to see someone who, you know, who is coming, that the feeling is supposed to be mutual. It's supposed to be a mutual feeling. The same way I value you is the same way you value me. The same way you are to me is the same way I am to you. You're important to me, I'm important to you. But, you know, people don't value themselves. So because they don't, when someone comes into their life, it looks like, oh, I was in darkness, now suddenly I found light. And these kind of people, when you meet them, you can see it written all over their faces. So people who already have this kind of violent tendency, it's easy for them to just express it on these people. In fact, they can even tell you that this one, she's not going anywhere, or that one, he's not going anywhere. I know him. You know, you should never come to that point where you self hate yourself.
Yeah.
You should never come to that point where you look down on yourself. I don't know if you look down on yourself, then who's gonna? Because you remember what your friend used to say? If you don't say I am, nobody will say thou art. The word is bias.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much how I said it before. You set the pace for how other people treat you. So if you don't think that you are all that, then nobody's going to think that you are all that. So you have to decide that this is who I am and nothing less than that.
And another thing, there are no exceptions to this. You know, some people, because of the background they're coming from, maybe poor girl meeting a rich guy, and then
she's now feeling
you're now feeling privileged
to be marrying money. Exactly. That kind of money, when you marry that money, the shege you will see is the shege pro max. Because I mean, of course, we're not saying that there's anything wrong with marrying someone who is wealthy if you're from, you know, a humble background, but you only should do that if this person also sees you, sees your value beyond what you bring into the marriage financially.
That's
right. So you have to be with someone who values you and appreciates you for who
you are, and
not you know what you are or what you have.
That's right.
Because if you don't have that, then it means that they don't see you for anything, which is the reason for all the unnecessary abuse. Another kind of abuse is emotional abuse, and we talked about some things already, like stonewalling, like gaslighting, silent treatment.
All these are forms of emotional
all those things, they are forms of emotional abuse. So you shouldn't you shouldn't continue a relationship with someone who abuses you emotionally, who makes you question your sanity, who, if the relationship is constantly feeling like you are fighting for your life, you're fighting for your mental health, then just imagine what the marriage would look like, where it's forever. You know, if the period where someone is supposed to be wooing you and treating you nicely
like the queen of the world,
and the person is showing you shaggy during that period, then I mean, what do you expect the marriage to be like? So you don't marry in the hope that the person will treat you better when they become married to you. So it's best to you know, make sure that you cut off that relationship
before it cuts you off.
Before it cuts you.
Yes.
Yeah. Then if you're already married, then you want to confront that, and I think the best way to confront that is to get help.
Yes.
If you're being abused in any way, people who abuse people, I'm sorry to say, but there's something wrong with them. If you're abusing someone verbally or physically or emotionally, it's coming from a place of trauma.
Yes.
It's coming from a place of trauma that you've not healed from. So you carry another person's child to, you know, take out, you know, all of that.
Transfer your baggage.
Yes. So you enter the marriage with a baggage. You need to heal. So it's on you, the partner who is being abused, whether physically, verbally or emotionally, to try to get help. One of the most lame advice I think that marriage people get is don't involve third party in your relationship. It is so lame. It is not even, it's the worst advice anyone can give you. Third party in marriage is a must. Now that third party must not necessarily be your peer.
Yes.
Your friend, your sister, his brother. No. Right? So third party should be someone you both respect and hold in high esteem.
That's right.
Someone who can be an example in your marriage, and someone who can hold you both accountable. So this could be a mentor, a pastor, or an older family friend, or an older relative, but someone you both respect and can listen to. So this does not mean that you must go and be talking to the person when anything happens. But like in our case, we've not had any reason to go and, you know, most times I report him to God.
You know, I report it to God. But of course, even despite that, we have mentors.
So I know that if worse comes to worse, right, which
we have mentors.
But if need be, right, if there ever is a need, I know that I can go to someone and say, look, this is what is happening. It is weighing me down. Please, can you call this person and talk to this person? Is there a way that, you know, this thing can be resolved? And sometimes also when you talk, you might also, in the course of reporting the person, you might also now hear a perspective to that issue that you've not heard before or that you didn't see before. Now, this does not excuse the person's bad behavior, but it makes you see things in a better light, and also you're able to manage it properly, and you're also able to take responsibility for, you know, your own part, if or where necessary, you know, while you are trusting that that person would also be aligned. And
then before I think that when they talk about third party, most people just misconstrue that word. Actually, when they say don't allow third party interference, they are saying that do not allow people make decision for both of you. They are not saying that you should not involve
everything that happens in your marriage.
No, that is not what it means. So people always misconstrue the word, the true meaning of the word. So they just think that they say no party interference. So the man can even say, "They want to, can we talk to him?" They say no third party. No third party. There's nothing like that. If you are in a church, for instance, you were counseled. In fact, that is why you must marry someone that you share the same beliefs, someone that has an authority figure that you are aware, someone that you can reach. Do you understand? Even if he's not a member of your church, he should belong to a church where he has a relationship with his pastor. His pastor knows him and he listens to his pastors. Because tomorrow, if there's you have a husband who does not listen to nobody, that is already a big disaster. Yes, a disaster for you. Because who are you going to call? Well, because at some point, you will definitely need someone to call.
Yeah.
It's either his pastor or his mom or his dad, or let me say his parents. They just or his uncle, somebody that he respects, someone that he listens to. You must have access to that person during their relationship. It's a security. In case you have not thought about it, just catch this one now as an expo.
Yeah.
Because you will need it. That is your life, one of your lifelines in marriage.
Yeah, actually.
All right. So the next thing that another toxic behavior that we want to bring to your attention here is being disrespectful. You know, generally speaking, there's a common saying that respect is reciprocal. First thing to think about is, how would you feel if someone treat you or treat your sister or treat your brother like this?
Yeah.
You see, people don't, when you put yourself in their shoes, it gives you a better perspective. And it helps you to, treat them better because you're considering yourself. But when it comes to a point where you just feel like as if you are the only one that exists, every other person does not exist. Can I ask you a question? If you were to be the only one in the whole world, how would life be for you? The cleaner in your house, you need the person. The gate man at your gate, you need the person. Do you understand what we are saying? Then your wife, you need her. If you don't need her, why do you marry her? Or the person you're currently dating, whether you're a male or female, you need each other. If you can self-exist, you won't have brought them into your life. So
disrespect, most times it shows a lack of understanding and a lack of self-control. And I think that a lot of people actually even respect their partners until there is a conflict.
Yes.
So you now see that they flare up, and you say things that they're not supposed to say. Yeah, so it just means that it was all in there, and for instance, since we got married, I cannot remember ever raising my voice or shouting, but we've had countless arguments.
Yes, countless.
Even before this video, we argued about where to keep the camera, so we have arguments almost every day because you're both individuals, right? And you think differently. You have different opinions. You like different things. You can't force someone to think like you. Oh, I would have thought better. Who told you your own thought is better? Right? So the truth is, you have to understand that no matter how you disagree with someone, you can always disagree to agree. So disagree respectfully. I think that even makes it easier to resolve the conflict or the issue, because when you, in the course of a conflict or an argument, outrightly disrespect, either by raising your voice or by using
harsh words
or calling names, it becomes very difficult to resolve,
because even when you resolve the issue, the
hurt is there because the person has already felt bad.
The words have been recorded and registered.
The impact of your words or your behavior towards them is already like a fixed deposit. So even when you resolve, it now takes time for them to eventually heal from that hurt. So I think that disrespect should not happen on any level, whether it's on a normal day or whether you are angry
during conflict.
During conflict. Yes, there should be no disrespect at any time.
And
whatsoever.
Don't tell somebody I respect you. No, in fact, that is just true. These are actions that can be felt. The way you talk with someone, they know that this one respects them. The way you treat people, they know that you value them. You understand? These are virtues that can be communicated non-verbally. In fact, they are even better expressed non-verbally.
And I think that the last one I want to talk about is forcing dependence. So this may not happen or may not be so visible when you are dating or courting, but if you're married to someone and all of a sudden they don't want you to work, they don't want you to do business, they don't want you to do ministry, so you bring this up, they're like, can you just focus on taking care of the children? Or they just want you to depend on them 100%. Financially. It is a problem. It is a problem because such a person wants you in a place where they can control you. So, and when a lot of women want to, now we're not saying that you should leave a marriage, right? But a lot of women want to leave, but they can't leave because how will they pay house rent?
Yes.
Where would they go to? How would they sustain themselves? So they just stay. And that's the kind of thing that people who force dependence want. They want you to stay because you have no option. So no matter what they do to you, you don't have a choice but to stay, because I mean, how else?
Where am I going to start?
Yeah, so they force you to depend on them. So even some go as far as, even when you're working, they want you to, bring your salary home. So some of these people might not even have the wherewithal to even take care of you
adequately.
But they still want to control you. So that forced dependence is a control mechanism. So sometimes it could be coming from someone who has the means, who has resources, who is well to do, but it could also come from someone who has nothing. Zero
yeah,
because I've heard stories, there's one we're talking about like that, where everything the lady makes, the guy was not doing anything for a very long time, and everything the lady makes she brings home, submits to this guy. She bought a car, the guy had to became angry that she bought a car and then misbehaving, and came up with a reason why they should sell that car, and she ended up selling the car and went back to trekking, and he took the money and
took off
eventually. That's after years and years of being together and treating her in this way, like forcing her to depend on him, because she'll make all the money and bring and give him, and he'll be the one giving her stipends for the money, and he himself is doing nothing. So now again, we're not saying that your money is your money,
no.
make it, but we're saying that you should not, if you're in a space where your partner wants you to 100% depend on them, not build anything for yourself, because I mean, as partners, you're supposed to make each other better. So if your partner doesn't want you to build, and they don't want you to develop yourself in a way that you can even get a job tomorrow, so take course. But why are you taking course?
For what?
Go for a training or acquire a skill. They really don't want you to do that. You get a job, they become very restless, like, why do you even really need to work? And all of that. Then you're doing business, they still don't want, a lot. They just do everything to make sure that you're in that space where they can control you. That's forced dependence, and it's a very tough. So when you see it, if most times you can't run away because you're already in. So you have to begin to find a way to nip it in the bud. That person is being toxic. That is a very toxic behavior, and you have to think of or pray about a way to nip that in the bud. The person has to deal with their insecurities, because this has absolutely nothing to do with you. It is this person being, most times some of those people feel like some actually do not really want you to be stranded and frustrated, and so that they can be abusing you and you not having. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes they just are afraid of you being independent. They feel like if you're too independent, maybe you not respect them.
Again, I wanted to say the truth is the direct counsel. If you're not married yet, don't marry an insecure man. That is just that's just the word. Don't marry an insecure man. You see, as a real man, okay, for instance, now there are women, there are nations where women are president, and those women have husbands. Some of them we don't even know their names, and it does not change them. That is how a real man should be. Do you understand? So a man that will, because you just came into his life as if you didn't have a life before he met you. That is, everything has to be according to how you want it. I mean, that is insecure. That's insecurity. Otherwise, I mean, if a man is secured, there's a man that you can even give whatever you're earning. He will even be saving it for you. Then before you know, you can even buy a house in your name, and you're in his house. He said, this one, let it be in your name. There are men like that. Do you understand? So don't just marry an insecure man. It's a terrible threat. It's a terrible threat, because you definitely, an insecure man will force dependence. An insecure man, of course, the end point is abuse, because he wanted to be in a space where you are more like a toy. There have been, all manner of ideas have been communicated into his mind. So, women, when a woman has money more than a man, she don't, that kind of African mentality, she don't tend to, those things happen everywhere. It's not an African thing. So my someone that cares about your personal development, my someone that want you to be better than when you came into their lives, my someone who is not afraid of you becoming anything, for as long as it's in the right direction. That is the kind of person that you need, regardless of where they are coming from. There are women who don't want to work, they want to be housewives. It's okay, let it be your choice.
And I was going to say that too, that
let it be your choice.
It's okay to decide either on your own, or even as a family, that what, at this phase of my life I want to stay home, either because you want to take care of your children, in their formative years, you want to be more available, or which is great, which is great. I've done a very great deal of that, and I think that it's okay, right? Or maybe for some reason you just don't want to work or do business or do anything like that. It is absolutely fine. So you don't take this out of context. And also another angle to this is also that you don't have to now be in this space where you actually reasonably need to not work or be home, and your partner is trying to make you see reasons, and you now say that they are trying to force dependence. No. So it's not every time, it's not in every situation that someone is saying don't work that it means that they're forcing dependence. So you have to really listen to what they're saying. Beyond what they're saying, where is that coming from? So that's why, again, it goes back to what you said, and you have to know who you're marrying. Are you marrying an insecure person? So if you're marrying an insecure person, then somehow that's coming from a place of insecurity and not necessarily concerned. But if someone is being genuinely concerned about you, then So for instance, if someone is saying don't work and you really want to work, then it shouldn't be forced. It should be a conversation for you both to sit down and say, okay, bring your strong reasons. This is why I think that it's best for you to stay home. Okay, I really want to do something. So is there a way that we can strike a balance between working and not working? So can I maybe work from home, or do business, work a remote job or do business from home? So everything boils down to what is being said and how it's being said. So the whole communication would make if this is for the forced dependence that we're talking about, or is someone
genuine concern. And the instances where your husband can even can even make effort to place you on an allowance. For instance, maybe you mentioned to him that, look honey, I have parents, I don't want to always ask you for money to take care of them. So I'm thinking, if I'm working, I'll be able to support you. Okay, even if you have enough for us, let me be able to get something on my own to take care of. And then your husband will see that is a genuine concern. And then it's like, okay, that's a valid reason. But since I'm earning enough, I'll place you on allowance. That one is for yourself.
But that can still count as forced dependence, depending on
it's what I said,
the circumstances.
Like you rightly said, the conversation, number one, you should know who you're getting married to. Don't marry, I said it and I'm going to say it again, don't marry an insecure man. He's worse than a lion. But that's the truth. A man that is insecure can be anything negative you can think about.
Because they're constantly feeling like you're trying to look down on them.
You're
trying to trample on their ego. So they would unnecessarily, become egoistic and react to things that they shouldn't.
Your growing wings.
I will change. So I think that
this is something that you should pay attention. Okay, so I believe that this video has done you a world of good, because I was blessed myself. I was so blessed by this video. These are the things that plague a lot of homes, and unfortunately most people are living with these things not knowing that they are receiving or giving this kind of behaviors.
Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. You see how I made the please very long so that you will not just watch and walk away. Please again, like, subscribe, and share with someone. This is so valuable for both
marriage
and single.
Married,
so everyone needs this video, so like, share, put the link on your status, let someone watch it, share with someone who you think that specifically needs it. It will bless them.
All right, thank you so much. Bye bye.